So Silicon Valley took about 80 years to create. And what's important about Silicon Valley is not everything you see, but what you don't see. It's the culture of this valley that makes this place special. And that culture took a long time, and the self-reinforcement of the right people being here and the wrong people leaving here to eventually create the ethos that makes this place what it is. It's important to understand, of course, coming from outside the valley, you know this. Inventiveness and creativity is not a monopoly of Silicon Valley. It's not what makes Silicon Valley special. Inventiveness and creativeness is wherever there are smart people, and that is everywhere on the planet. What makes Silicon Valley special is the best practice of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship as different from innovation or inventiveness. There's a practice of taking great ideas and great concepts to market and having impact. That is a profession. It is not a crapshoot. It is not something that is held to just inventors in the lab. It is called entrepreneurship. And the high watermark of entrepreneurship in this country, and then I would say probably on this planet as a result, is here in Silicon Valley. Why? It's not because of the amount of money that's in the valley. It's not because of the smartness of the people in the valley. That's just a given. What's happened in the valley, what makes this place special, is how it fails, not how it succeeds. How did this start? In the 1930s, the internet of the day, the social web of the day, was radio engineering. And there was a professor at Stanford by the name of Frederick Terman. Frederick Terman was nobody special. Stanford was no place special. All of the great educational institutions in the United States were east of the Mississippi. Stanford was a big land-grant college sitting on a beautiful piece of property, and it had no distinction. And Frederick Terman taught radio engineering. But he had this idea. He had these very clever students, and some of them were the Varian brothers, some of them were Hewlett and Packard. And he had this idea. He'd give them $300-400 in a garage, literally a garage, to try their ideas out and see if they could actually make products from them. That particular seed, planted 30, 70, 80 years ago now, is the seed that gave rise to a relationship between Stanford and the Valley, which is like no other university and its business community on the planet. At Stanford, there's a revolving door between the brains that are constantly doing research and the business community. People like me go in and teach for a few years, and then, and on the side, work with entrepreneurs. People inside who are doing great, deep research are encouraged to leave with their research, take it into business, own part of the business, become wealthy, and come back and teach. If you're a scientist in a lab, you understand very, very clearly that for you to succeed, you're going to have to fail first. The story on Edison and a light bulb is that he tried 999 different filaments before he came up with a tungsten filament that worked. I don't know if that's true or not, but it creates the mythos about what innovation is. Innovation isn't that eureka idea that you walk out with and immediately it works. It's the idea that you have to methodically test and try until you finally get to the right answer. A lot of business in Silicon Valley takes place in coffee houses. It takes place in bars. It takes place at parties where people mingle and share information pretty freely. In spite of all this intellectual property litigation you see going on around here and the patents that are being thrown at between Google and Apple and Microsoft, when it comes to the engineers doing the work, the entrepreneurs with the ideas, they share them very, very freely. And so the learning cycle means that there's this rushed dynamic, this very, very quick, swift movement of innovation to encompass the ideas that are out there, move them forward, throw out the ones that don't work, and keep going. It makes my job actually very, very hard. It's very often what I'll see is somebody will come up with an interesting new angle on a product or a service. And within a month, I will see 10 just like it. And they will be separated by the smallest nuance. And in the consumer web area in particular, that nuance can count for everything, and it's unpredictable. And that's led to a model in the Valley where you see a lot of angel money being thrown at very early product ideas, not companies, but products, thrown into the market very cheaply, getting very, very broad distribution, getting customer feedback, and you build your products with your customers. Venture capital tends to come in later in a lot of those cases where we actually start to invest in the growth and acceleration of the business once it's proven. And for each one of the products, like an Instagram, that might grab the zeitgeist of the moment, there are 20 other photo enhancement applications which are just like it that fail. Getting to Plan B is about the how of entrepreneurship. And in getting to Plan B, we talk about a very different structure for how you build businesses. If you accept that most businesses fail, if you accept that most entrepreneurs coming into you with an idea, if they succeed, will end up succeeding with something other than that idea. If you accept that, then everything that we were doing, even in Silicon Valley, to build businesses was wrong. Because we would make them go through that static process. Come in with a business plan, and then I'll give you money against that plan. Now execute against that plan. What happens in that process is you end up telling white lies to each other until it breaks. They lie to you about the plan. You lie to them about your belief in the plan. They lie to you at every board meeting about how they're doing against the plan. You lie to them at every board meeting about how happy you are with how well they're doing against the plan. And then at some point they come in and go, guess what? It's actually not working. And now you sort of get rid of the management team. You bring in a new management team. That introduces a whole nother set of risks into the business that I hate to do if I don't have to. And that ends up with a lot of wasted entrepreneurial time and money. So John and I said, if the case is that most Plan A's fail, and most successes are with some other plan, the metaphorical Plan B. By the way, it could be C, D, E, F. It's the next plan. How would you do it differently? How would you not waste that entrepreneur's time? How would you fail forward? And so we broke it down into something extremely simple. We said every single one of these things doesn't start with a business plan, it starts with a business problem. What's the problem you're trying to solve? Focus on that.